Well, hello everyone, welcome to the Gul'dan theory crafting sort of video. I did want to jump in straight to a quick match with this guy. Actually, maybe, oh no, unranked draft he would be picked instantly, and in quick match he had a 700-second estimated wait time. So instead, we're going to take a look at his talents and abilities in a little theory crafting video instead. Alright, so let's just say this guy seems quite fun on the face of it. We are level 20, so let's take a look at his first tap. Well, we'll go over his abilities first. Our Q ability is Fell Flame. Releases a flame in a cone in front of us. Pretty simple. It does a lot of damage, and it's a 1.5 second cooldown. You can spam this bad boy out, and it does a lot of damage. This will be... I guess this is where you'll get the majority of your damage from. It's where you get most of your wave clear from, and a good all-round ability. Our second ability is called Drain Life. You drain the life from an enemy over 3 seconds. Please note that it says enemy, so you can use this on pretty much everything. Heroes, minions, bosses, mercenaries, summons, immortals, probably punishers, dragonites, all sorts of things like that. You can't use it on structures, however. It heals Gul'dan more health than it does damage. And our third ability is called Corruption. This is a 16-second cooldown, rather long cooldown on that. Calls for 3 bursts of shadow energy, dealing certain amounts of damage over 6 seconds, stacks 3 times. So it does damage, and it's like a dot. Now, the easiest way to explain how this works is pretty much like Gaul's ability with the Dread Orb. So it works a lot like that. However, the spacing on the circles don't actually get further apart. You just place all 3 further away, and that's it there. It's very fast. It's obviously better to use, let's toggle our cooldowns on. It's better to use it when people are running away, so you can kind of hit each one as they're running away, but it's a very tricky skill shot because it happens extremely quickly, whereas Gaul's Dread Orbs happen very, very slowly. Our ultimate, we'll get there when we get there, and our life tap is our trait. Gul'dan does not regenerate mana. Activate this ability to restore a quarter of your mana. Now, this costs health, so it's very warlocky, and I know that sounds a bit strange because he is a warlock, but you can see he's got a lot of flavour from World of Warcraft, which is obviously where the warlock is most well known from. Also, life tap is in Hearthstone, but you draw a card instead. So the warlock heroes in all 3 Blizzard games very similar across all 3 brands. Now let's take a look at our talents. Now we have a grasp of our skills. At level 1 we have a couple of quest choices. Pursuit of Flame, hit 40 enemies with Fell Flame. Reward increases the radius by 10%. What's 10% of that? Can't be very much. Now that's a lot of people to hit, 40 enemies. Also, it doesn't do anything while you're getting it, so even if you have 39 enemy heroes hit, it does nothing. You need to get all 40 to get a tiny benefit. Well, 10% seems a bit tiny for me. Maybe if it was like 25%, it might be okay. The first one I gravitated instantly towards was the Glyph of Drain Life. The Drain Life radius is rather small, as you can see. Anybody... Bearing in mind when you have to use Drain Life, we'll use it here. It's a channeled ability. We can't move while we're doing it. So we're very vulnerable to skill shots, ganks, root CC, root stuns, slows, etc. So the further we can be away from the enemy while we drain their life is got to be a good thing, right? So that's an instant pick for me. But we'll go through the rest of them. Echoed Corruption. Hit 30 enemies with Corruption. Again, this has the same problem as Pursuit of Flame. It does nothing until you complete it. The reward, after the 3rd strike, Corruption strikes 3 times in the opposite direction. So again, very similar to Gaul's ability. You know how Gaul, you throw it out and then the last one bounces back to the 2nd location? It's like that. So if I place them down here, it would go from 1 to 2 to 3. And then after I hit the 3rd one, it would go back to 2 to 1. So it's very rare you're going to hit anyone. This is a hard... It looks like an easy skill shot to hit, but it's rather difficult. And I guess if you have more corruption hits, then you have a better chance of hitting somebody, but then again, you can't replace them. They're on the ground. All 6 will hit in the same 3 squares, so all the enemy needs to do, check their talents. Oh, Gul'dan's got this thing. Just move to the side. It has the same problem as Prometheus. If you've seen the film Prometheus, where the falling spaceship happens, you just run to the side and dodge everything. But obviously in the film they don't do that because they're fucking idiots. Chaotic Energy is the last one. Gathering a regen globe causes your next basic ability with a mana cost to refund 25 mana. Sounds a bit shitty. After gathering 20 regen globes, your basic mana costs are permanently reduced. See, now that sounds okay, but then you have to give up the Glyph of Drain Life, which to me is a much better option. Alright, so at level 4 we get Health Funnel. If an enemy dies while under the effects of Drain Life, the cooldown is reduced. Again, this is enemy, not hero, not anything. So this will work on a minion. This will work on Arthas. This will work on, I assume it will work on a boss or the immortal, stuff like that. Sounds pretty good. Improved life tap. Life tap now restores 35% mana, up from 25% mana. That could be good. That could be good. It just means you need to do less life taps to get more mana. However, there is synergistics between life taps for this one here. After you use life tap, your next ability has 20% increased ability power. So if you take this, if you take improved life tap, you're going to be doing less life taps, so you're going to get less value out of this. See how it's anti-synergistic. And the last one, so I guess it's okay. It's a safer one, so you don't have to give up as much life to get as much mana back. So I guess it's the safer play. But I still think I like this Health Funnel. Health Funnel, the more drain life you can do, the more life you can get back. And the more life you have, the more life taps you can do. So these kind of almost fill the same role, but in different ways. Life tap here means you can get mana safely without needing to be in range of the enemy team to siphon their health. Whereas if you get Health Funnel, it reduces the cooldown by 6 seconds from 10, so then it becomes a 4-second cooldown. So you can just keep pumping that out, getting insane amounts of health and stuff like that. Bearing in mind this only works if the enemy dies, so I guess it's slightly less reliable than the improved life tap. And finally we have Consume Soul. Instantly kill a minion and heal for 800 health. I actually like this one. I haven't seen many people take it, but I actually do like it. I guess it's good for maps that you would fight in lane a lot. Or where you would fight near a lane. Tomb of the Spider Queen, it would probably be quite good on. I mean, it's got a large cooldown, 30 seconds per charge, and you get 2 charges, so it's not exactly up all of the time, but especially on Tomb of the Spider Queen, where the map is small, the lanes are close together, you can dip and dodge, drop out loads of spells, and you're like, oh no, I've got no mana, so you life tap all your mana away. Maybe you've been focused a little bit, so then you just jump into a lane. I'm trying to get rid of some mana so I can life tap. Okay, so we've got rid of some health. We're like, oh no, we've been focused a little bit, just jump into a lane and heal up. On the majority of maps, or maps that are quite large, no, I don't think this is very good. Probably only Tomb of the Spider Queen it's any good on. Now, it is worth noting that this only works on enemy minions. Now, the rest of his abilities work on everything, but this only works on minions. It doesn't say it works on mercenaries, bosses, or anything really, so just minions. So I think for level 4 you would go with these ones, one of these. Since we got the range on level 1, I would probably go for Health Funnel. And it is worth noting that Drain Life does not have a mana cost, so every 4 seconds you can drop this bad boy down without any mana cost and get a load of health back. So I guess if you're going for level 1 Drain Life, you go for level 4 Health Funnel. Alright, level 7 we have Bound by Flame. Each enemy hero, now this specifies that it's a hero hit, so each enemy hero hit with Flame reduces the cooldown of corruption by 1 second. Remember that cooldown on corruption is 16 seconds, so it could be good. If you're in a team fight and you can get a couple of these fell flames off, bear in mind if it has a 1.5 second cooldown, and in a team fight you might be able to hit 2 or 3 with one of them, so that should technically help you dish out a lot more damage with more corruption. However, again, it's a bit more unreliable. You need to get in close because this fell flame does not have the greatest range in the world. It's no Li Ming, that's for sure. It's also fairly narrow, so you do need to aim it rather well. And again, corruption at its best is difficult to land. I mean, you can land one of them, but to land 2 or 3 is certainly not the easiest feat in the game. It puts you in a spot that may be risky to get a benefit of corruption that you might miss. So let's say you manage to get like 6 seconds off the cooldown of corruption, you get another one ready, you whack it down and then completely whiff it and hit nothing. So that makes that talent pretty useless. And you also had to spend 90 mana on corruption. So yeah, I'm not the greatest fan of that. We also have Devour the Frail. Drain life deals 50% more damage to enemies below 50% health. Again, this suggests that it works on immortals, which is great. It also suggests it works on bosses, mercenaries, minions, heroes, and all of that good jazz. So this immediately seems the best one for me, especially on maps that revolve around a NPC mechanic such as Battlefield of Eternity. It would also be good against defending against NPCs, the Punisher. It would also be good against defending the Dragon Knight, Garden of Terror, etc. You can see where I'm going with that. This seems rather strong for that. However, Drain Life doesn't do, absurd damage. You can see on Arthas, it's hitting for 75. 75 a time. It is not the biggest amount of damage in the world, but that's per tick, and it'll ramp up rather well. Alright, next we have Curse of Exhaustion. Upon expiration, corruption slows enemy movement by 50% for 2 seconds. That would be good if corruption was easier to hit. But maybe if you can get the first one, let's try it. I'm going to try it actually. We need to make Arthas retreat first. So maybe if you can hit the first one, the rest become easier to land. But then again, the animation is extremely fast. So let's see if we can hit it. Yeah, I mean, that one helps. Curse of Exhaustion helps land the corruption a little bit. But again, if you're against real players, they're just going to walk to the side. Well, if you're in higher MMR brackets, they're just going to walk to the side. They're going to see the first couple and then walk to the side. And the final one is Hunger for Power. Increases ability power by 15% forever on all abilities, but reduces healing received from allies by 25%. Interesting. This is a very warlocky sounding ability. You get more power for, sacrificing something, which is what the warlocks are all about. I like that. That's a very flavoursome talent. And to be honest, it's pretty good. I like that one. Obviously, you don't use it in Hero League. Because you're definitely going to have a dedicated support. And if you aren't getting the... Let's see, right. Gul'dan is quite squishy for what he is. He gets his sustain. He has no mobility, and he gets his sustain from standing still, channeling an ability. So he doesn't want to be up in the thick of things. He kind of wants to be moderately safe. And if you get focused, you have very little ways of getting out of harm's way without a healer. If you were purposefully reducing the healing you receive by your lone support, maybe with double support it might be okay, but for a lone support, that's not a good one to go for. In quick match, if you see that your team doesn't have a support, that's probably the best one to go for. Quick match, no support, you find yourself in a team of 5 assassins or something, yeah, Hunger for Power. Because you're probably going to die anyway, because your team doesn't have a support and it's 5v5 assassins. So you might as well get a little bit of ability power. I don't know if this affects the heal from your drain life. But it should increase the damage of your drain life. Alright, at level 10, we have our 2 heroic abilities. Now, Reign of Destruction. This is being pretty much ripped from WoW. I do like this one. Used to use this all the time back in Cataclysm. Summon a rain of meteors in an area for 7 seconds. Each meteor deals 400 damage in a small area. That sounds pretty good. It makes no mention of a channel. I think this tooltip needs rewording very, very quickly before he makes it onto live, because it's very, very it's very vague in what it means. So it is summon, so you expect it to be Starfall, but no. You have to stand there like a pleb and cast this thing, which makes Gul'dan have 2 channeled abilities. Again, rooted to the spot, very susceptible to gank CC and all of that good jazz. It has a very long cooldown as well. Let's toggle the cooldowns again so we can use it straight away. So I guess what Blizzard is saying is, because it's such a big radius, that fills the lane. That is a very big radius. That he should be sort of susceptible while he's dishing out so much damage. But you can see this just hits in a random area. You can see it's just hitting the lane over here. It's not targeted. It's not like a Starfall where it targets each individual enemy if they're in the circle. This just, you know, scatters an area, and if you just happen to get hit by one, you take 400 damage. That being said, you can hit 5 people with a single meteor, and I guess the trade becomes worth it then if you hit a whole team for 400. But then again, it's just chance. This is a very, very chancy ability. Do I happen to get RNG on my side that the enemy team get hit by these meteors? I don't know. I don't think that's very reliable to me. It's probably one of them abilities that can change a team fight if the stars align and you get very, very good meteor spawns on the enemy team. Otherwise, it's probably quite crap. That being said, it has an extremely large radius in its favor. That also is a bad thing, because if it had a smaller radius, it would have a more concentrated area of meteors. So the fact that it has a big radius is actually a bad thing, because there is a lot more open space that it can hit nothing in. Like this area here, there's been about the majority of them went here. There's probably been about 15 meteors that just landed and did nothing, so I guess it's rather crappy. Again, if we just toggle the cooldown so I can show you one more thing, it doesn't have a very big cast range. Not a very big cast range at all. So for 7 seconds, you're stood within gankable range of the enemy team. So I think the only way you could use this is if you used it behind terrain. So a bit like Li Ming playstyle, where Li Ming can shoot through obstacles and things like that. So I guess you would kind of Li Ming it and just, like, you know, do it from here. And then the enemy team don't know where you're casting it from. They're taking a whole bunch of damage. And I guess in that situation it would be rather good. But if you're standing in lane, you're going to get ganked more than like. And the next one is Horrify. Again, straight from WoW. Very warlocky. I like this one indeed. So for this one, after a short delay, you deal mere damage and fear the enemy heroes. Again, this only works on heroes, and it lasts for 2 seconds, and I think this is the only ability in the game that is classified as a fear. So we have a new CC in the game, and a fear is like it's like mind control mixed with a silence. So the enemy team becomes silenced, they can't use any abilities, they also lose control of their character, and the character just kind of walks around aimlessly. And I'll show you that now. I don't know if the placement affects where they run to. So you can see Arthas is now feared, he runs towards me. I think they just run away from the epicenter of the fear. So if we toggle on cooldowns and try that again, if we place that here, yeah, okay. So it looks like they just run away from the epicenter. So you can make people like run into tower range. Again, you know, Arthas kind of just running into tower range. That could be good, could be bad, could get you killed if you misplace it. But I think that's the go-to one. For 2 seconds, if you hit that on multiple enemies, you're going to have 2 seconds of multiple enemies not doing anything and getting damaged and possibly killed. Alright, at level 13 we have Fell Armor. Hitting an enemy hero with Fell Flame grants a spell shield, reducing ability damage taken by 30% for 2.5 seconds. Bearing in mind that Fell Flame has a 1.5 second cooldown, And this spell shield lasts for 2.5 seconds. You can technically have spell shield the entire game. Obviously only works if you hit an enemy hero. But that's kind of when you need it. You don't need a spell shield when you're sat in lane. You need a spell shield when you're busy team fighting enemy heroes. So I like that. That's quite good. Harvest Life. Drain Life heals for 50% more health when used on heroes. Again, this is probably when you're going to need to use Drain Life, when you're busy in team fights. So for it to do an extra 50% healing, that also is seems very, very strong to me. Dark Bargain, he's another Warlock flavor talent that I don't think anybody should pick, but is rather interesting nonetheless. Dark Bargain, your maximum health is permanently increased by 25%, but your death respawn time is increased by 15 seconds. Now, let me remedy you this. How do you win a game? By killing the core. What's the easiest way to do that? Kill the enemy team. How do they stop you? By respawning and killing you while the core's killing them. Interesting. How do you defend? By not dying and killing the enemy team. So what's the worst thing you can do? Have a really long respawn timer. What was the reason Resurgence of the Storm and Diablo's Trait are quite strong? Because it involves the respawn timer. So Dark Bargain, yes, you become extremely more tanky, but if you die, 15 seconds is a lot. And bearing in mind, this is from level 13, so every time you die from level 13 onwards, you have an extra 15 seconds to sit around and do nothing. So it's very flavoursome, very warlocky, but I think it's rather naff. And Health Zone, oh, again, another one just ripped right from the Warlock in WoW. I like it a lot. Health Zone, 60-second cooldown, activate to heal for your 30% maximum health. So this is your oh shit, heal me button. And I can see this getting a little bit of play. Maybe in quick match, maybe in unranked draft, maybe... yeah, maybe something along the lines of that. Otherwise, I think the go-to here would be one of these two, Harvest Life or Fell Armor. It depends if they're running triple mage, you may want to think about getting Fell Armor. You're probably not going to get in range to use the Harvest Life as much, so maybe Fell Armor is better. If they have a giant nuky dive team, so let's say they have Greymane, Anubrak, Tyrael, and lots of other divey heroes, you might want to think about getting Health Stone. Sorry, not Hearthstone. You might want to think about getting Health Stone. Because you're probably not going to live long enough to get the full duration and benefit from Drain Life's extra health gain. Again, those kind of heroes don't do a lot of spell damage, so you're not going to get a lot from Fell Armor. So I guess if you're going against a Greymane, something like that, maybe look at Health Stone. Alright, level 16, what do we have? We have a Rampant Hellfire. Fell Flame's damage is increased by 6% for 5 seconds when hitting an enemy hero. This can stack up to 5 times. Oh, I thought that meant 6% max health. But that would be insane. 6%. What's 6? 30. So it does an extra 30%. So at level 23, it would do... oh, shit, I'm terrible at maths. Like an extra 150 damage, more or less. That's stacked up to max. Nah, that seems really bad. Even if that was 10%. I guess 10% it would be worth it. But 6% seems rather weak. Maybe it might be good. I don't know. Again, if it depends on the map. If you're maybe Cursed Hollow, everyone's fighting in those little chokeways. And you can spam this off with a 1.5 second cooldown. Maybe you can get the extra benefit of the 150 damage on everybody. But again, it's 150 damage while we're at level 23. When you're below that, it's only going to be like 50 or 100 maybe. So possibly not. Ruinous Affliction. Corruption deals an additional 192 damage on impact. If the enemy is hit by all 3, the third one deals 500 damage. Corruption deals an additional... that would synergize well with this one. So if you manage to complete Echoed Corruption and then take Ruinous Affliction, you could do like a very, very strong nuky corruption damage over time build. But again, that all hinges on you being able to land corruption and the enemy not dodging corruption, which is probably few and far between. But I guess if it worked, it would be really strong. But I think it's very unreliable, I would say, until people get used to Gul'dan and then call themselves Gul'dan main. I'm a Gul'dan main. I can hit every spell. Then it might be a little bit too unreliable for everybody else. Whereas considering Fel Flame is so fast and easy to land and it does 500 damage on its own, I think it's probably just safer to go with the Fel Flame. And Darkness Within. After using Life Tap, the next ability you cast has 20% increased ability power. That just seems the best to me, straight up. It's not a... There's just no what ifs about that. This one is what if Wurong's Cursed Hollow, what if it was 10%, what if you managed to hit anybody. This one is if you manage to hit Corruption, if you take the level 1 talent along with it, and this one just seems good. Again, the tooltips are very important to read with Gul'dan. This one says the next ability, so this works on your ultimate. If you took Reign of Destruction, you would have a 20% increased damage on Reign of Destruction. Again, this will work on Life Tap, Corruption, all that sort of stuff. Very nice. And at level 20, I am glad to see this. I love this ability, Demonic Circle, but we'll get to that after we've talked about Haunt. Increases the duration of Horrify by 1 second, and feared enemies become vulnerable, taking 25% increased damage. Now, vulnerability is, I've always said vulnerability is the best sort of debuff in the game. It's very strong, and if you get the chance, everybody with vulnerability should take it. However, I think it's a little bit different with Gul'dan because the Horrify forces people to run away, so it's a little bit more tricky to coordinate your attacks when it all rests on the Gul'dan forcing the enemies into a certain location, and if he does it wrong, let's say for instance we want to focus Arthas, but I fuck up my horror and then he starts running away. Yeah, he's just got vulnerable, but nobody was in range. I fucked it all up and everybody's gonna hate me. And I guess it could, if you're a good Gul'dan, again, it could work really well in your favor. You bring all the enemy team into tower range, into fort range, keep range, Punisher range, and they're all vulnerable, and you just blow up the enemy team. So there's a lot of blow up potential with that, but again, you must remember that feared enemies don't stand still, they all just run, and if you do it wrong, you fucked up the chance, and you're gonna have to wait 80 seconds to do it again. Where is Demonic Circle? I love this ability. It doesn't seem to have a range on it. I tried it earlier, I put it in the base here, and use the 1 key, and you summon a circle. I assume the enemies can see this circle. It seems to be on the mini-map as well, that's interesting, so you can, oh shit, you can see where you've placed it. And all you can do is go fight in lane. Look at me, I'm so ballsy. What am I planning? What am I planning? Why is there a Gul'dan in the middle of the lane? Who knows? Let's just see. And then you're like, oh shit, I'm overextended. Press number 2 and I'm back in my base. The teleport does have a 60-second cooldown though, but the actual summon of the circle does not. So once you have teleported to your circle, let's just toggle cooldowns on. So let's say we use our circle, we get a 60-second cooldown there, but we can instantly place another one. So you can see, instantly place another one, and then we can go straight back into lane, and we just play safe until we get our cooldown back, and we already have placed that back in the base ready to go. So we don't have to sit and wait, and then run back to the base, put it down, and then run back to lane. You put it down again straight away once you teleport to it, so it's ready to go straight away. Again, you don't have to put this in the base, but it seemed like a good option for being safe. So again, we'll toggle the cooldowns on just so I can use the teleport again. And like, oh no, I'm being focused by the minion wave. Just imagine this minion wave is a whole enemy team. Oh, I'm actually not taking any goddamn damage. I'm going to have to stand in fort range. Oh no, we're taking so much damage, we're gonna die. Boof. Straight back into our base. So that seems like another get out of jail free card along with the health stone that he can get. Now, again, I fucked it up. We can put it down here. And then we can go into lane and go, oh no, look at me. I'm so vulnerable. Oh no, I'm going to die. And there we go. Safety. It's also good for setting up your next move. So if you think If you're thinking in terms of like what's the next step, what do we want to do after we've done what we're currently doing? Let's say, you know, there's your team's going to go to the boss, but you need to go and clear the minion wave up top. So you place your circle down. This guy here is the teammate. He's waiting by our boss, and they're like, "Come on, Gul'dan, come on, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm just soaking top for us. I'm just clearing out top." And then you clear out top. You clear out top, and then you just teleport, and you go straight back. Help your team do the boss. Interesting. So it opens up a lot of play. It also looks really cool once you teleport away and the enemy team have no idea where you've gone. So I hope you all enjoyed my thoughts on Gul'dan. If you have anything that I didn't mention, put it down in the comments. If you think he has a better build that I didn't mention, put it down in the comments. If you have any situations in which you can use the demonic circle quite well, let me know. I like hearing all these interesting uses for abilities that are kind of out the box and people don't realise them straight away. So I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like. Consider subscribing, and I hope to see you all in the next one. We're also going to be checking out Zagara next, and Grayman. Goodbye. What's his dance, actually? Oh, it's the orc dance. I might have known.